welcome back to Off Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm James Pelton, and I'm here to talk about Everton's absolutely crushing defeat to Bournemouth. I think before the game I could have imagined, it's possible I would have said that because you're both for a decent team. We're struggling a bit at the minute. They've had some good players this window. And watching last weekend against Newcastle, I thought they looked quite good in part of the game and what have you. But then after 85 minutes, I absolutely could not imagine that I was going to be saying that, and yeah, here we are. I've done this a few times where we played Newcastle, we were 2-0 up in extra time, or added time should I say, and we drew. We were obviously up against West Ham, going back 7-8 years now, a couple of goals up, we had 10 men. Martinez made a couple of bizarre change-offs, we'll come on to the similes of that in a minute, but all the similarities with that, should I say, in a minute. And we got beat. We were away to Newcastle. We capitulated from 2-0 up to lose 3-2. So this isn't like a new thing Everton have done. Obviously, I think it's kind of like the dreaded feeling as a football fan, feeling like the game is won, and then you're on the end of the most absurd comeback. I mean, it has to be one of the best comebacks in Premier League history, because I think it is the latest 2-goal comeback, which again is just typical Everton, typical Goodison Park, always involved in these ridiculous things and very rarely seem to go our way. But yeah, it's hugely disappointing, but obviously it's happened now. We have to kind of accept it, digest it, dissect it, and yeah, above all, kind of move on and hope that it's the last time, certainly for a long time, that something absolutely ridiculous like this happens, because, as I say, it is the worst feeling as a football fan. I think you'd rather get beat 4-5-0 then get beat 3-2 when you're 2-0 up, especially with literally minutes to go. But anyway, first half I thought we were the better team, but I think they had like 6 shots maybe, but didn't have any on target. So Everton were super comfortable, and it was just a final ball 2 or 3 times. Mikalenko would get him down the left, or Bournemouth would get it towards the area. McNeil was another one. Quite a few players were missing that final touch, that final pass. And that was frustrating, but at half time Everton were comfortable. Everton had done well. I thought, in terms of, it was similar to the Brighton performance in some ways for the first 20 odd minutes of that game. And you just felt okay, the breakthrough would come. Obviously it didn't against Brighton, and they turned it on a little bit. But I felt quite confident going into the second half. And then soon on, we obviously get the opening goal. We'd kept the pressure up for a few minutes, and then lovely ball in by Harrison, great touch by Calvert-Lewin, and a terrific finish by Michael Keane. For all the drawbacks people will mention about him defensively, there's one thing he can do, and that is hit a footy dead hard. So terrific finish from him, and that's puts the goal up. Then Coleman should have made it 2-0 a couple minutes later. I mean, I actually missed the Leeds game when he scored, and having been at the ground when Leighton Baines scored against Leicester, obviously got to see his last goal for Everton. Obviously missed a penalty after that, but I need to talk about that. I really have to see Seamus Coleman score again, because I've seen him score most of his goals at Goodison, but I missed his most recent one. So I thought in that moment, especially when I'm around that last defender, I thought, this is fantastic. I'm going to see Seamus Coleman's potentially last goal for Everton. And I have no idea what he's doing the finish. Actually, I haven't seen it back either, to be honest with you, but the goalie stayed big and touched it over, but only a minute or two later we scored, so it doesn't hugely matter. It would have been nice for him to score, and who knows what would have done to the actual game itself. But I think when there's a couple minutes between the goals, or the chance and the goal, it doesn't matter too much. Again, Everton just kept the pressure up, kept going, won a couple of second balls, and died as well. Boom, and gets it into McNeil, and McNeil slides Calvert-Lewin through, and it's an absolutely terrific finish. And it made me think actually of Calvert-Lewin's, what I would kind of call him, was his first game as Everton's number 9, which was against Chelsea when he scored 2 against Kepa at the Gladys Street. It really did remind me of that. Obviously, I know he'd been Everton's number 9 for, I think, probably a few months before that, I think, actually. It might have been that season, or maybe the year before, I can't quite remember. But it was a game when he kind of announced himself anyway, and it reminded me of that. So that was a great finish. Great goal, good for him, good for McNeil, good for everyone, because it was just, a real kind of relaxer among the crowd. And then even after that, for 10 minutes, we just battered them. We were all over them, and we had numerous chances. If it wasn't a chance, we'd have the ball in a really good position. We just about couldn't do anything with it. But we were in utter and total control. And then obviously change happens, and DYCHE comes off and DYCHE comes on. And I remember that was just as Bournemouth were coming into the game. I think the been decided before then, but he'd had a shot which Pickford saved relatively comfortably, and then another shot which went wide. Wasn't like whistle past the post or anything, it went I think a couple of feet wide. But I remember right then, someone around me would have said, like, got to do subs now kind of thing, and then DYCHE comes straight on. And look, at the time I did not think that was the wrong substitution at all. Talk about the West Ham game under Martinez, and the Ash comes on for Lennon. Lennon was absolutely knackered, to be fair, at the time, because we had 10 players, and then DYCHE I thought was looking knackered, looking tired. He missed a couple of chances, and while he had been running Bournemouth ragged, we kind of needed to shore the game up and just see it out. So I didn't think it was a wrong substitution at all, really. At the time, obviously looking back, you say if Van Dijk stayed on for a few minutes, maybe we could have got the ball to him and he could have kept it up. But we had other players in the team, so he's not the only player who can have the ball and move past someone and keep it up, especially when Bournemouth are coming at us trying to score. I think, I say for me, I didn't think that was a ridiculous thing to do. But obviously some people will disagree. DYCHE came on, we did fine. I think he won a couple of second balls, which we didn't win many of in the second half. Certainly lose out of McNeil playing centrally, whereas DYCHE does get out and about and wins those kind of loose balls and headers and what have you. So I thought he came on, did fine, but that's obviously when we started to capitulate. Ball gets in down Coleman's side, ball across, Mykolenko keyed, neither anywhere to be seen, lad finishes it. And then we had to score at 2-1. Harrison was really well down the right, gives it to DYCHE, then to cross come shot, Beto's not there. And then that's when they scored the second goal, because Mykolenko goes and gets it by the corner flag, somehow loses it, and then lets him out the corner, and then loses a 50-50 outside the box, and then the ball gets played into our left-back position. He's nowhere to be seen. He had a real good period of form, Mykolenko, when he came back into the team, and it came out that he'd gone back to Finch Farm early, and he'd worked on himself and his game, he worked to get back to full fitness, and everyone said fair play to him, but he kind of rode on that wave. He had a couple of injuries in the meantime, he's had some really bad games, he's had some games where he's been fine, but nothing special, but people kind of, in my opinion, I think a lot of fans kind of talk about him as being this kind of, really, really solid player who's doing really well at the minute, but I haven't really seen that for a while, and he did so poorly for that second goal. Ball gets swung in. Lewis Cook, 5'6", 7", whatever he is, scores his first Premier League goal. Absolutely typical, but all our own making. We this is what I mean. This is why, again, people are going to slag the manager off, and I totally get it. If you're the manager of a team who's 2-0 when you have a 3-2, of course, I get it. You're going to get stick, and of course he deserves some stick because everyone does, but he's not asked us to miss a great chance and then have Mykolenko lose the ball 3 times in 60 seconds or 40 seconds or whatever it was, and then not be back in position. Absolutely shocking. And then they actually could have scored before they got the third goal, but again, we had the ball in the box where we had a chance to get our third goal. And then Mykolenko and Keane again. I mean, look, defenders that have got Michael Keane tend to concede a lot, and I didn't think he did well for any of the goals, but in particular the third one. All 3 goals are on that Mykolenko Keane side. And whereas last year I was sat watching Jared Bramford thinking he's actually been kind of sort of immense for a long period. You felt like he had no chinks in his armour. He made very, very, very few errors. And I'm not saying he would have done better there, but I imagine he probably would have done, And then obviously the lad finishes and it's 3-2, and it was just an absolute disaster. It's like getting like Vietnam flashbacks thinking about it now. Just horrendous. Trying to remembering it and thinking back to how happy everyone was, and then how dumbfounded you end the day as. It was just an absolute disaster. But at the end of the day, I think when this sort of thing happens, you want the next game to come quickly. It hasn't. I think actually when we got beat by West Ham, the next game was Chelsea in the cup quarterfinal, I think. That's what my memory's telling me anyway. And obviously we won that, so things kind of moved on very quickly. But we haven't got a game now for, I think it's over 2 weeks. So, yeah, absolute disaster. But for 85 minutes, we were terrific. Iliman Ndiaye looks fantastic. Irabuman looks terrific as well. And the team as a whole played really, really nice football. And as I say, the manager should get some stick, obviously, but the players have got to get some stick as well. You hold on to a 2-0 lead for 8-9 minutes after playing them off the park. I'm not bothered if Ndiaye's not playing. The players on the pitch should be able to do that, and this is why I think if this runs under another manager, the players will get all the blame. but it isn't under a manager. A lot of people don't really want, so it all goes on to him. It's got to be a much fairer split, in my opinion. And for me, I think I saw some people tweet about this saying, no matter how bad your subs are, you don't go from 2-0 up to get beat 3-2. It shouldn't happen. The players should have more pride and more courage and do more to see out a victory. Okay, maybe we should call the players wear tight, but like to Harrison McNeil, they always look like that towards the end of the game, but they always stay on, they always do fine, and I don't really think either of them playing was a big issue. Coleman obviously played in the week. If Ashley Young comes on, I mean, he's getting booed on Tuesday night when I was there, when he was getting subbed on, so, you know, kind of, I don't know, I feel like it suits some people sometimes to say, oh, well, this should happen, but, you know, a lot of time it's fine, or player comes on and they're not particularly well liked, or they're a bit of a boo boy at the minute, and I'm not sure Ashley Young's making a huge amount of difference to the team. So, yeah, of course, I think the manager's going to get some stick. You know, maybe in a different life, he wouldn't bring off and die and he'd give him another 5 minutes and just to keep the ball at the pitch, and maybe we might have won the game, sure. But also, I think if you take him off, then you can also say in another life, yeah, the players don't lose the ball twice in the corner flag. The midfielders work a bit harder. The whole team kind of comes together and sees the game out. It was just an absolute disaster, and everyone should get some stick for it. A lot of people leaving at 2-1 as well. I mean, I mean, that's a different issue. I cannot understand that people leaving at 2-1. You've just conceded. We need everyone to kind of get behind the team here, and people leaving. But that, again, it's a separate issue, and so that's why I'm up for a number of years. But let me know your thoughts anyway down below. What would you have done differently in the game? What do you like about the match? What are you looking forward to going forward? Because obviously the season is still, I mean, we're talking, less than 10% done. So there's a long, long way to go, and I'm sure we'll be absolutely fine. This smart right now, it hurt, it's not nice. But, you know, it's a sort of crazy thing that happens sometimes, crazy thing that we pull off on occasion, not hugely often, albeit, but this thing happens sometimes in football. So let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll see you next time.